How you doing, everybody? Arcader Zero here. So you like 5e, but you're getting a little tired of D&D. 5e, personally, I love the system, and I love Dungeons and Dragons. But sometimes you might be saying to yourself, well, let's mix it up. Let's play something different. Remember, back in the 80s, TSR, they would be pumping out role-playing games. We had, aside from Dungeons and Dragons, we had Gangbusters, Top Secret, Marvel, a whole bunch to choose from. So if you're getting a little tired of D&D, but you love 5e, here's some other options for you. First I'm going to start off with is Esper Genesis. This is a sci-fi role-playing game. It's actually pretty cool. The races in it are excellent. The art in it is incredible. Look at that. Is that cool looking? I think it is. Let's see. They have different classes. They use more of a sci-fi approach, and each class kind of has a like D&D equivalent. So they've got a cybermancer here. It's kind of like a spellcaster. They have rules for spaceship combat. Here's an engineer, and they all have like this psionic ability type thing that's on there. I like it. It's actually really good, and you can easily port this into D&D if you ever want to have a mix or mix and match. But I think the spellcasters might be a little bit more powerful in D&D. I haven't really tried it out. So, excellent stuff. Cool-ass equipment. More great art. This is a very decent book. Back here they've got like a whole map of the universe. And the universe is something I wanted to talk about. The biggest obstacle I see that sci-fi role-playing games have is if people don't know the setting. This is an original sci-fi setting, so people are coming into it blind. They don't know the planets, they don't know all the races or species, they don't know the equipment. There's a lot of unknowns where people are going to have to start learning. So you kind of start, with any sci-fi, I think you start behind the eight ball, unless you're playing something like Star Wars or Firefly or Star Trek, something that people are familiar with, because most everybody's heard of Star Trek or has seen Star Wars, so they can really just jump right in. So there's a little bit more to this. I have this book. This is the core rule book, which is pretty decent. And then I also have, it's like their monster manual, their threats database. They've got a lot of cool stuff in this. And this stuff in here, you can actually easily port over to D&D and have your D&D characters fight. What's in here? The Shadow Technocracy. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So, cool stuff. Lots of cool ideas. Lots of cool monsters. If you want to give your D&D campaign a sci-fi flair, you can easily port these in. Yeah, they have challenge ratings. They have everything in here. So, very cool. So that's Esper Genesis. Very cool. I recommend it. But with that caveat that some players be like, oh, what is this? I don't know what it is. Hard to get into. All right, let's go to the next one I have on here. This is the Game Master screen. Carbon 2185. Carbon 2185 is a cyberpunk book. It's extremely cool. Very gritty, very, how do I put it? Very low powered. You're not like superheroes in this. You're not using super cybernetics. These are, cybernetics, androids, that type of thing, but nothing really super. In fact, the levels in here only go up to 10 instead of 20 like Esper Genesis or Dungeons and Dragons. But they've got a lot of cool things. Even though you hit, if you hit level 10, you say, well, there's nowhere for me to go. Well, you keep earning cash and you can upgrade yourself with the cybernetics. So there is actually more to get and more to do. But it's very cool. Let me see some of the classes here. Vices play a big part in it. Let's see. Okay, so we got like the Enforcer here. It's kind of like, I guess, the Fighter. You have Oh, look at that. That's like a street samurai. You got some of the subclasses are very cool, taken right out of Cyberpunk and Shadowrun. But you have a street samurai, you have a marine, rapid deployment. You've got a hacker here. It has a very interesting character generation system too. Scoundrel. So that's kind of like your thief. So you have a contract term. So everybody starts out working before their cyberpunk life. And at some point you get injured or something happens to you that they take you out and they retire you. And then that's when you start. So depending on how far you get, so say like if you have like 30 or 40 years, how far you get into your career, that's how much money you've accrued. And then you use that to spend and kind of like build up your character. Very, very cool, interesting. Fits in with the background in here, which they provide a very cool background. The art in this is really good. I mean, check that out. I mean, that's awesome. So if you're a fan of Cyberpunk, definitely pick this up. I highly recommend it. I think they give a background on San Francisco, with corporations, wage levels. In the back, they have some enemies that you can encounter, like NPCs and bad guys, and they've got rules for hacking. It's very, very cool. Nanobots, everything. You can do a lot with Carbon 2185. I highly recommend. This was so cool. I was so happy to get this. I also have the GM screen for it, which is actually really good. Has computer security levels, other things that you don't normally have on a D&D screen. But it has the things you need to run the game. Very cool. I also have a source book for it. The London, Manhattan, and Tokyo source book. It also includes a new background, which I think is like a mutant type background. Can't remember. He was it's like a genetic mistake or something like that. But lots of cool information for running a campaign in those big cities. Carbon 2185, highly recommend. And then this one I just got, which I also really like, because I was a big fan of Top Secret back in the 80s. So you have the Spy Game. That's what it's called, the Spy Game. Extremely cool stuff in here too. Very like modern day. Think of Mission Impossible, the recent James Bond movies. Tons of things you can do in here. They've got some pretty cool classes in here, like martial arts. So instead of those esoteric D&D monk classes, you have a martial arts edition. You can do Shaolin, Krav Maga, you can do ninjutsu, real cinematic type martial arts. You can be a medic, of course. So, but they have the Ranger, and I think one of the Ranger art subclasses is a handler, like you get a German Shepherd, you get like this cool attack dog. Very cool stuff in here. They have information on firearms. Like Carbon also had information on firearms, and they did it. They do it very similarly. That you can shoot a person, target somebody, roll somebody to hit, but if you spray, you're doing like a cone, and everybody has to make like a dex save. I think that's very cool. That handles those rapid fire firearms very well. It also has in here, a little surprise. It comes with like these. Here it is. It comes with like, you can see that? They're like built-in page markers. So if you want to hold your page for something, save your page. But it has lots of gadgets, rules for modifying your own gadgets, creating your own gadgets, like real spy stuff gadgets, vehicles. You can be like a transporter. Has rules for engagement with cars and car chases. It has a little bit of background, so you can set up your own spy agency, but it does give you some spy agencies in here also. Tanks, helicopters, hacking is in here, which is very cool. Using drones, that's in here. Really good stuff. The art in it is also fantastic. I'm very pleased with how these games have been pumping out such good art. And I think it's like, see, look at the art for the hacker there. That's very cool. I think these like little independent games, they've invested in the art. The art is excellent. So kudos to them. So Spy Game 5e. You already know the rule set, but here's a whole new game you can play. And if you have a whole bunch of players that's already playing, they already know 5e, you're already a step ahead. You don't have to teach them a new system, which is cool. I also got the Game Master screen for this, which is cool. It has action tables, weapons, so you can have like the damage for nunchucks and the special abilities for like a whip, crossbows, submachine guns, rifles. They don't get into real details of real weapons. I think it's because it's kind of like generic. You make your own. I also don't think they want to deal with copyrights or anything else. Your operating systems, firewalls, lots of cool spy stuff in here. I love it. Check out the art on it. It's pretty cool, right? Kind of gives you the feeling of a spy game. So those are 3 games that you can start playing with your group. Don't require learning a whole new system, just a few esoteric rules here and there. I think the way they handle a lot of weapons in here, from the sci-fi all the way to the spy game, they do it very well. I remember playing, what was it? The Pathfinder in Space. I have it back there. Starfinder. There were some weapons that you couldn't use until you were a certain level or something like that, if I remember it correctly. Played it a few years back. To me, that really didn't make sense. I think if you can pick up a gun, you can shoot it. But I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, thanks for watching my little video here. Hope it's helpful. Please like, subscribe, press every single button you can find down there. And thanks for watching. I hope everybody has a great day. Be healthy. I'm going to press stop now.